Chula Radio Plus presents Chula Innovations Unlocked.
Since its outbreak in late 2019, the World Health Organization's official figures show that by August 2023, the coronavirus or COVID-19 has killed about 7 million people worldwide. Other sources suggest the global death toll may be a bit higher than what we observed. And back when researchers and scientists around the world were racing to find a vaccine to fight the pandemic, another group were looking into applying antibodies when fighting the outbreak. And one of the success stories happened right here at Chulalongkorn University's Faculty of Medicine when Dr. Trairak Pisitkun and his team at the Center of Excellence in Systems Biology identified highly effective antibodies against COVID-19. And along came COVITRAP, the world's first innovative nasal spray which traps and inhibits the COVID-19 virus using antibodies. Dr. Trairak, upon hearing about your innovation, I would have to say that this is astonishing. But before we go into the details, my first question would be, what is the biggest difference between vaccines and antibody?
Yep, great question, by the way. So a lot of people, questioning about this. Vaccine is used to activate your immune system.
Okay.
To produce antibody. Mm-hmm. So that means antibody is a byproduct of a vaccine.
Okay.
Versus antibody that we produce from factory. It's like ready-made antibody that you can use.
Right.
Right. So for antibody, you can think as we call it a passive immunity. That means your body doesn't have to produce because the manufacturing, produce that for you.
So on top of frequently washing your hands and wearing a facial masks, between a vaccine and antibody, which one is more efficient when it comes to fighting against COVID?
We can say that all of them have to be used in combination. Okay, so let me go into a little bit more detail.
Please do.
So for vaccine, right now, everyone receive vaccine mostly through the intramuscular injection. Right. We call it systemic vaccination. That means once the vaccine get into your body, it activates immune system throughout your body.
Right.
That means if we have infection, COVID-19, if the patient get infection, anywhere the virus go into your body, those immune are ready to help attack the virus.
Okay.
Because immune system through our body get activated. But if you apply antibody locally, for example, if we apply antibody inside the nasal, like as for COVITRAP, it will just see the virus inside the nose.
Okay.
But if the patient somehow get infection already, throughout the antibody applied to the nose will just work only at the nose.
You'll still be infected.
If you already got infection, if you not help on other other part of your body, it's best to use in combination because of this. A few weeks after vaccination, you will have enough immune system or antibody that's still very high and it's still in the nose also.
Okay.
But once the time goes by, the antibody or immune system level will decrease. Then you may not have enough antibody inside your nose.
Okay.
So
which is a vulnerable point.
With the entry point for the virus.
Okay.
So we think that then can we supply the antibody, at the entry point of the virus.
Okay.
So instead of having to inject vaccine again to introduce the whole systemic immunity, then I still recommend that we should get full vaccination. Right. So you have protection systemically. When the time goes by, you still have the risk to get infection. So this nasal antibody will help kind of adding another layer of protection.
Can you simply explain the mechanism of COVITRAP, how this idea came about and how does it work?
When the pandemic started, at that time we don't even have vaccine yet. So but we know that immune system is the key to attack virus. Then we would like to somehow activate using the vaccine, right, to make human body to create the antibody, or people also thinking about making antibody, and then inject to the patient, right? So both way are a solid idea, and there are companies that doing on both idea.
Right.
There's another group of company that also making
antibodies,
right, for injection. Okay, at that time, so the reason we develop antibody, first of all, is we have technology for making antibody for as a cancer drug.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we are specialized in making antibody against cancer. Basically,
it was on the table.
It's on the technology is there. Yeah, and then we think about, okay, we would like to make antibody against COVID-19.
Right.
Okay, but I say that most people will think that should be the intravenous or intramuscular injection, systemic antibody. That development will take a lot of time.
Okay.
And also a lot of investment because it's a drug. So it has to be way more like stringent and more process. Our team at that time is emergency, right? So then we think that what could be a quicker way,
right,
and also very useful. So then we come up that, okay, we should make it into intranasal. And now it's become makes sense, like I described before.
Right.
That you already have vaccine that make you protect from systemic, right?
Okay.
What you need is to something at the front line, right? Just locally,
right?
At the front line, and it's safe, and you can use it as needed when you need it.
I see.
Because antibody, once you apply into the nose, it will not enter your body. It will be just in the nose, and then the nose has the way to clear it up from your body within a few hours.
Right, through mucus.
Through mucus, through those things.
Right,
so that means you can use it when you need it, and it's not stay on with you.
Right.
So
you apply it, like say you're gonna have to enter a place where it's
risky area. Yeah, risky area.
Okay. So in the development process, how did that come about?
Yeah. So as we discussed, right, we would like to make antibody that recognize and attack COVID-19. Right. So where are those antibodies? So the best source of those antibodies are from
people who are infected,
who already have immune system.
Okay.
Right, and good immune system. So yeah, for COVITRAP, during the early week, early pandemics, we have few hundred patients that admit at Chulalongkorn Hospital, and we have the data on which patient has good immune response.
Right.
So we invite them to participate into the study. So then we can take the B cell from those individuals. We call this typically we call this elite responder or golden patient, and then we can test which B cell, which one produce good antibody.
B cells. Can you explain that in simple English, please?
Sure. Yeah. B cells simply is the cell that make antibody.
Okay.
Yes.
That simple as that.
Simple like that. Yes. So to elaborate more than that, in your immune system, right? The thing that will kill the germ, there are two things.
Okay.
First one is antibody.
Yeah.
That's what you say. Another thing is the cell, immune cell itself.
Okay.
So B cell is the one that make antibody. And another type of cell that kill the germ, there are multiple of that.
Okay.
Could be T cell, macrophage, those kind of things. So those are all systems that somehow handle the germ.
So anti-germ team.
Anti-germ team. So basically we discover good immune system through the screening of the recover patient that has high response. Not everyone has very great immune system. So it's a kind of a luck. So we have to identify through screening.
Right.
So because I think it's not just a luck, but if you can somehow think about it, it's maybe someone already encounter many infection, their immune system has been trained to
I see.
to combat with the virus.
I see.
That could be one of the reasons.
Could be, perhaps. I understand that when we're going to be like doing organ transfer from one human being to another, we have to match like the blood type or the RH or whatever else it is.
HLA. HLA.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to transferring these antibodies from one person to a mass amount of people, there's like no fighting against like not welcoming the new agents?
Yeah, very, very great question. So the quick answer is no. You know, antibody, we all have it.
Okay.
And we discover antibody from human. So we made, you know, the molecule that all of us somehow has very similar,
right.
You know, antibody.
So compatible to all.
Compatible to all.
Any cases of drug allergies?
Yeah, we have no reported, you know, allergic reaction from the customer that using this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many puffs would you need?
So at the beginning, we think that we should get about 2 puffs.
2 puffs.
Yes, per nose, per nostril. Yeah, but later on, you know, we have more data that so 1 to 2 puffs. You know, depend on the situation.
And how long would you be safe from COVID once these 2 puffs are inside your nose?
Okay, so this is a tricky question. So we have not determined the exact time yet.
Okay.
But based on our study, we just test it at 6 hours. You know, we haven't explored like beyond that.
Okay.
So at 6 hours after the spray, when we take the nasal fluid and test it, so it still have good activities against virus.
Okay.
So for this product, yeah, it could last longer than that, but we haven't tested.
I see.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as overdosing with COVITRAP?
As for any medical product, that you should not use more than what we recommend.
I see.
Because that's what we test for.
Vaccines, at least in Thailand, is pretty much subsidized by the government, and similar to many countries. But let's say that it's somebody's money who has to be paying to these pharmaceutical companies. When it comes to value for money, producing vaccine and producing COVITRAP, which one is more value for money?
If you just talk about the cost of production, vaccine will be cheaper.
Yeah, because it's mass produced.
It's
right?
mass produced. Antibody could be mass produced, but the technology of antibody is more expensive.
I see. Can we take this concept in creating this antibody and use it for other diseases as well?
Yeah. It's a lot of those drugs,
right.
That made from B cell for cancer, for recently like for Alzheimer, for heart disease.
Right.
Many drugs that made by using antibody technology.
We have the capability to produce these antibodies for infectious diseases among humans. Can this concept be applied to farm animals or livestock? So perhaps we could help cure like mad cow disease or swine flu, bird flu. Can we develop to that level?
Yeah, sure. The technology is the same in terms of making something that can catch the germ and kill it, right? I think for those livestock and those animals, it's more like how can we make it in a way that cheap enough to apply, to those big amount of livestock, and the way to introduce it to those animals,
right?
For human, we can apply it, right? We can direct to apply, but those animals maybe you have to spray it somehow.
Have to kind of force them into
them in, or something.
Right. Now, when it comes to these medicines, these newly made products, I mean, what would be the possible side effects that you may have been pretty much afraid of, or perhaps have already found?
Yeah, each medical product will be different. Right. It ranges from high risk to very low risk. Right. For this one, per Thai FDA, they classify this COVITRAP as medical device class 4. Class 4. Class 4 is the class that a little bit higher risk than other medical device.
Okay.
That means they require the research team to test very thoroughly.
Okay.
So we did test on multiple animal, and also we test it on human.
Okay.
Right. So basically, yeah, this product passed through all the tests.
Nice.
Yeah.
So pretty much no side effects.
No minor side effect, maybe it's like some stuff, some depend on
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, could be some discharge, something depend on
Right.
on who use it. Yeah.
So now
But
COVITRAP.
not major side effect.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. So now that COVITRAP is on the shelves in pharmacies and all, how's the feedback from the consumers?
So disclaimer, I'm not the one that sell this product. We, as a research team at Chulalongkorn, we license this out
Right.
to a Thai company. So what I heard from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a good comment, from the people
Right,
that
right.
using it. Yeah.
I see. Were there doubts from the public? Because when COVID came about, there were lots of there were introductions to lots of innovations, lots of
Technology, yeah.
technologies, which a number of them were a bit of hoax.
Yep,
right. I mean,
yep.
were there people who doubt COVITRAP?
Of course, yeah. So it's like everything, right?
Right.
So I think the key activity from the company is to communicate, right, through the real evidence,
Right.
through the data, so that so we have done the clinical study,
Yeah.
and we collect, we call it post-market survey, right? So we collect all the feedback from the customer, and we can, use that to evaluate, how safety, after
Right.
we launch it. So, but as what I heard,
Right.
so we don't have big complaint whatsoever. So
Nice.
yeah, so it had to be proven through
Right.
usage and time, right?
Now, well, nice to hear.
Yeah.
What's your next step of R&D?
This kind of product then it set like a set example for using antibody into the nasal spray, right? So we are the first one in the world actually that kind of established this approach.
Right.
So you can imagine that then rather than beyond COVID-19, right? So we can use it against other infectious disease
Right.
that come through the respiration, right? So I mean, if we have antibody that's specific for those virus or
Right.
bacteria, then we can apply the same idea also.
I see.
So that could be the future of this application.
I see. So influenza or the typical cold.
RSV, or who know, could be SARS-CoV-3, whatever
Right.
virus, in the emerging,
Right.
virus in the future.
As long as it comes through the nose.
As long as it come to the nose.
Right. So dengue fever is kind of out of the question now.
Antibody itself, if you apply it systemically, right? Right. You can do IV or IM
Okay.
injection.
Right.
I mean, those routes are not new. People has developed that before.
Okay. Right. Now, speaking of COVID in the big picture, will there soon be a new strain of COVID-19 or a new type that will be alarming to the global population again?
So as of now, COVID-19 is still here with us, and it still keep evolving. So even though we don't see like a big shift in like variants, like from like Delta to Omicron. Yeah. Right now it's still mainly Omicron, but within Omicron, they're still evolving.
Right.
So to say, is it a chance? Of course. But how much is that?
Right.
So we rather saying this, then we just have to be ready.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
I see.
Right. So to keep in mind about this readiness, for the next challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of readiness and preparing yourselves to encounter any possible germs or viruses coming out, as a doctor and researcher in this specific field, what would be your recommendation to the audience regarding on how they should keep themselves healthy and far away from these germs?
I can think about two angles. Right? So first is to find a way to like minimize the risk. Right. And another thing is to prepare yourself. To have good immune system in your body. Right. So minimize the risk. I mean, like try to avoid, risky area,
crowded places.
Crowded places. I mean, and you know that, right? Wear the mask, whatever, right? So those things that you can always do it. And then for preparing your immune system, so I think everyone know how to do it. You just have to eat healthy, exercise, and avoid stressful and take care of yourself.
Right.
So you cannot just rely on one approach. You have to use combination of those.
So it's more like a holistic approach. Right.
That makes sense, right?
Makes perfect sense.
But beyond ourselves, right? Then I think in terms of the society, right? Especially the medical community and scientific community, then we have to still continue, find, innovate and develop measures to help, either detection, screening, surveillance, right? And then develop the possible drug or
cure,
immune system or something, We have to keep creative way to, because we know that they're gonna be the new pandemic
soon enough.
When it's gonna come, it's just a matter of when.
Okay.
Right. So keeping those readiness in terms of the technology and awareness also important. But this is not at the personal level, but it's more like as a global network. And maybe another thing that important also is those. Right now, a lot of infection, right, are from the animal. So right now, human and animal more like getting close to each other because maybe too close. Yeah. So another thing that we have to think about, how can we not invade that territory too much, and then so because that may be part of the minimizing the risk.
Okay.
But not at the individual level, but more on the global activity. Right? You want to make more farmland, you have to deforest. You deforest it, right? Then where is the animal going to go?
Exactly.
So those are the things that have to be done as a global effort.
Right. Otherwise, it'll come back and hit you right
exactly.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been a great talk, and I'm sure that the audience have learned so much about your innovative products. And good luck to you and your team in the R&D, as well as developing more products for our health.
Thank you so much.
ขอบคุณมากครับ
ครับสวัสดีครับ
Chula Innovations Unlocked is produced and presented by Superjohn Klinsawan. This program is brought to you by Chulalongkorn University.